beautiful. Okay, so today we're just going to go for an hour or so. It won't take too long. We're just going to go over the Trend Assist Lorentzian regression tool again. Okay, I'll start from the beginning as well, so that everybody. If you're brand new at this, we'll go from the beginning, but I'll also add in a couple of little unique touches that we might need, that nuances, I guess, so that we all don't get tricked by it. Okay, because I have been finding a lot of guys at the moment they're making it too robotic. Okay, so we still need to have some of the other components in it, because it's not foolproof. All right, none of these things are foolproof. Okay, so let's just get started. Let me take this. I'm going to go actually put a brand new screen on. There's Lawrence in there. Okay, so let's just start off. I'm going to actually delete this indicator. Okay, Lorentzian. Okay, so what I've done is I've put the in the video training channel. It's the module 14 document is there if you want to have a look at it. It's sitting there for you. Okay, so basically what it is, I'm not going to go into what Lorentz this function basically is. It is a mathematical function. It's a different way of it's a different type of algorithm that overlays on the market. It's not machine learning. It's not AI. Okay, it is simply just taking the same thing as any other indicator. Everybody gets carried away with these terms, AI or machine learning or whatever it is. They just throw those terms around nilly-willy because they sound cool, I think. Good sales point. But if you want to have a look at what it all means, there's a bunch of YouTube links here for you if you want to dig deeper into it. Pretty heavy on the math, so you'll probably go over most of your heads. But the whole idea for this, with this Lorentz indicator, I guess it is just to help as an assistance. It's an assistance tool. Okay. Now we've been using it, and I've been using it on a 5-minute DAX, and it seems to be pretty good. Now, it's not foolproof. It's not bulletproof. It's not the bee's knees. Okay, it's there just to go along with all of the other techniques that we have running through our head at the same time. And you've all pretty much heard me say this before, is that just to have blinkers on or your binoculars on, only looking at one strategy, is not really going to help you. We need to kind of take in consideration all of the other strategies, things like classic TA, Wyckoff, cycles, session timing, the VWAP, MAs, etc. Okay, so volatility as well is another important one that we need to consider. Okay, but this Lorentzian, it kind of makes things a little bit simpler, right? It will help you with becoming a little bit more certain with your decision making, so you don't sit and fumble around, or you don't get you don't have the fear, because it's kind of telling you what to do. Okay. All right. So if you want to have a look at what a Lorentzian function is, there it is there. I'm not going to go into it, as I said. We still need to, okay, so let's just put it on the chart. Okay, so in the indicators, just go to machine learning. There it is. I've kind of did a I changed it a bit, but either one of them will be good. I mean, that's see RJJ, Richard John Jackson. You won't be able to get this because this is actually on my computer. I think it's not actually. So we'll just use this one at the top. Okay, this J Doherty. Okay. Okay, and what it's basically got, it's got a look back period. It changes the colors of the candles like Heikinashi overlay, similar to Heikinashi. Okay, and we don't really want that. Okay, whoops, let me cancel that. I want to go to this. I don't really want to, put bar colors. I want to keep my bars the way it is. Okay. What it will do as well, it's got a look back as well. Okay, I'm not really interested in the look back nor the trigger for buying or selling. Okay, because these triggers can come in really late. Okay, so I'm not really interested in them. What I am only interested in, and this is just from me playing around with it for 6 months or so. All I'm really interested in is this kernel regression estimate. Okay, which is basically it's a fast moving average with a certain look back period. Okay, you can see here, this is neighbors count at. That's basically a look back. How far back do we actually place the indicator? 2,000 bars is plenty. Okay, but yeah, we'll just leave it. We don't want to show the stats. All I'm really interested in is the kernel regression line itself, okay? Because I'm only really going to be using it as an assistance, okay? So now what you can do, I mean, this is on British Pound. This is obviously NFP that came out on Friday, yesterday. You can have a play around with other time frames and other markets, but I'm more interested in DAX. Okay, I have seen it. I'll let you have a play around with it in your own time. But at this point in time, I'm really only focused on the DAX. Okay, so really, what we're doing is pretty simple. Okay, we always know that. The first rule of Fight Club basically is that we've got, if we're making high lows, yep, and high highs, we're in an uptrend, aren't we? Yep. And then if we've got our last point of fractal point, okay, which is a resistance point, and we break it, it'll come back and will tend to be a support level. Okay, that's the basics of trading. Okay, it can't get any simpler than that. Resistance turns into support. Okay, now what we can do is we can take that idea as well and use it with the assistance of the kernel regression line. Okay, so let's say, for instance, in here we've got basically when it's red we're going short, when it's green we're going long. Okay, but I don't really want to just go in anywhere. What I tend to find is when we get a move through it, okay, and that's obviously come up into, hopefully you can all see that, let me zoom in. When we go penetrate the regression line, we're going to have a pullback into the regression line. So there's plenty of time to do something about, take your trade. And for me, I found the best place to be getting that entry is right on the regression or just in front of it. Okay, so when we penetrate, we go up and then we pull back into it. Okay, and then we've got the ability to have a very good risk to reward ratio. Okay, and that's simply it. Now we need to take into consideration all of the other components, like what's happening on the 15-minute chart, what's happening on the 4-hour chart. So we need to be smart about it. Okay, if we do have a 4-hour SR level here, then we probably won't want to be going short here. Okay. Okay. On this retest of it. Okay. Typically what we want to do as well, and this is something that I've discussed recently in our live trading sessions, and I did it with Ash on Friday, is that once we've moved a significant amount, right, you've exhausted all of the sellers. Okay. What we want to be careful about is actually taking a trade too late after we've actually made the move. Okay. So that wouldn't be a sell point. Okay. Where your sell would be in this scenario is that we've got a doji and we've got a bearish engulfing basically right on open, and then we've got kind of retest in there. So my sell on the open would be in here, okay, in there. Now, the question has been raised with me from a couple of guys, when do you actually, like how do you do this? Okay, you can either run it as a limit order, sitting along, as we've penetrated, we just stick a limit order in there, and it'll just get picked up, and it'll be somewhere close, not necessarily right on. You can go right on. Sometimes you'll miss it if you're going right on it, but you just front run it a little bit. With a limit order, okay? Or you can wait for it to touch and market sell it, okay? In this scenario here, you'd be market buying right where my cursor is, okay? All right. Now, the other things that we need to consider while we're doing this, obviously, there's VWAP. VWAP is a very common indicator. You can see here on open, because of this bearish engulfing, it did touch and pull back to this 50% down leg. Okay, now if I take that into a 1 minute chart, that'll be a nice 50% pullback, won't it? Okay, so the VWAP still has a significance to it, but you will tend to, the idea is that, we're coming off 1880, which is our insto level that we've always speak about, and we've got this bearish engulfing, so VWAP will probably not be respected, okay, especially on open. Okay, so our sell point would be somewhere here at 1850. It might half handle, and then we take it short. Now, where we want to be with our trade entry, we've got our entry correct. Okay, now, all right. Now, volatility is nice at the moment. So volatility, and I've discussed this with Ash. If you're running a 10-point stop, it might be a little bit too tight at the moment. Okay, because volatility is high. Somewhere between 15 to 20 points would probably be a smart stop. Okay, just because of the volatility. And I've spoken about volatility, how we kind of gauge our volatility. You can see here, you can see by your price scale here, what looks comfortable. You've got 20-point increments between your prices. Okay, now if we were, let's say volatility, and I'm not condoning trading during the Asian session here because the spread is a lot wider, but if volatility does drop right off, then we can afford to have a stop that's 10 points. But what we don't want to do, and this has caught a lot of guys in the last few weeks, is that your stop might be running a bit too close. Okay, so we've got to give it the room. Okay. So, but on the flip side to that is that when it does start moving in our direction, then we've got the opportunity to pull the stop in, and you can either do one of two things: just leave it there and bring it to break even, okay, or you can just start trailing it down along with the regression line, okay. All right. So therefore, if that was the entry, you could be stopped here at 39 points. But if we're looking at our 4 hour or a 15 and we know that there's SR in there, you could just take the whole lot, okay? Somewhere around about the 60 point mark. And I'm sure all of you will be very happy if you went and got 60 points out of that, okay? All right, so a couple of things, all right? You've got to decide for yourself, what type of trader are you? Are you a guy that's going to sit here, get a high win-loss ratio and take little clips out of the market? That's kind of what I do. my 10, 15, 20 points, and then I'm happy. Okay. But you need a high win-loss ratio for that to happen. Or you're going to be one of these guys that allows it to have a run. Okay. Now there's no certainty. There's no answer for that type of to that question. Sometimes you can take little clips, and this is where the art of trading comes in. Are you going to take little clips so that you can have a high win-loss ratio and get a pat on the back all the time, or you're going to be one of these guys that want to take 50 points out of it? Now, if you're wanting to take 50 points out of it, you're going to expect a win-loss ratio to be very low. Okay? But as I was saying, I'll go back. The art of it is sometimes you can take the clip and sometimes you can take the run. All right? So it depends on your interpretation of what the volatility is going to look like. Okay? Now, if we go back, let me just go back over here to my normal charts. Okay. We saw in here that, we had a nice run down. Okay. This kind of double toppy thing in here. Okay. Volatility's been nice. And then we've come down to the SR in here. And on, what was it, Thursday? We just stayed within this block in here. Okay. So let's go and have a look at this block, because this is where it hurts sometimes. Okay. And what do we do when we're just going sideways? See globe. Okay. We're just sideways. Look at this. Pretty difficult to trade that. But we all kind of knew that there was a flaw in here. So if we're looking for a Lorentz regression, let me just get rid of this. I'll get rid of this one now. Okay. I'll go in, zoom in. Let me get rid of this. Okay. If we're going, there's a double top in there for starters. Okay. And then we've got open here. This is our open candle. And then there's our pullback into Lorentz, and off we go. Okay, you can even take the second one in here if you wish, because we had Lorentz line up perfectly with SR in here and also the VWAP and those couple of MAs. So that's a really nice trade. But it's not we're not really thinking that it might be going to go for a huge run. Okay, so if you were one of these traders that's looking for 50 points, 60 points, this would probably end up just being a break-even stop. Okay. Let me add to that. Okay. Let me add to this. Our initial trade will be in here because we've identified this as a double top. We put in the double top rule, which is a target, and we know where the target should kind of be around here. So that's target has been reached. All of the double top players have now finalized. They're done. They're out. This is why we've got this, big bullish candle. Okay. We've also got this bullish engulfing candle. Okay. We're at the bottom of the range as well. So here's the bottom of our range there. Okay. First touch, second touch, bullish candle all the way up. We would probably think to ourselves, but because that's a huge bullish candle, this thing is not going to pull back. It could go for another run to the downside. It could. But I'm trading what I'm seeing, not what I think. Okay, so therefore, if on this second touch of Lorentz at the bottom of the range, the double tops over, etc., I might just take a 10-point clip out of that instead. Okay. All right. So this is what I mean about. You got to, it's this. The Lorentz isn't just a traffic light system. Okay. I don't want you to treat it like a traffic light system. All right. Buy, sell. I could code that in myself. Right. What we want to do is we want to be smart about it. Okay. Have a look at what else is going on around, and play it accordingly. Okay. Now, we all, I've said repeatedly, what we're trying to aim for is a 50 to 100 points a week. Very achievable with this. You could get it in one or two trades. The inhibiting factor will be you as a person. All right, when you get nervous, you want to get out too soon, because we certainly, and everybody goes through that emotional roller coaster, and I certainly do. I'll take my 10 points, but I'm looking for the high win loss ratio. Um, yeah, so I think we just got to judge, you know, as we're going, what it's potentially going to do and what it's going to look like. Okay. All right. So it's just a trend assist. Okay. All right. But I've seen on here on this DAX that is working very well in the fact that it, we could go look even here on this upside before the market open here. There's a long in there for a little grab. Okay. And then, even if you went long again here, I think one of you did do that, you went long in here, even if you're wrong with that, there will be always the opportunity to do something about it. So let's say that you do have that 15-point stop in there and you get stopped out. Okay. You will be able to see that is now a double top. You've got the opportunity to then turn it around and short it. Okay. And that's not revenge trading. That is trading what you're seeing. Okay. Revenge trading only exists when you are emotional and you throw your entire system out the window and you're just trying to recover any losses. Okay. All right. That's what revenge trading is. Okay. So let me see what I've covered here. Yep. Okay, so another thing that we've brought up in the past as well, I think, Alex, if he's in the room, no, he's not, is there's a couple of guys that have waited for confirmation candle, okay? Waiting for the close of the confirmation candle. For me, that's too late, okay? We want to get in right on the regression line or just in front of it. Okay. And then if we're in at that point, then we've got the best risk to reward. Okay. Okay, so time frames, we already know about the market session timing. I've got videos on that. Okay, very important to know what time of the day you're in. Okay, because there's no point in trading it. I mean, you can trade it, if after 4 o'clock. Yeah, there's been quite a few nice trades. Okay, so you can come in just before 5 if you wish. And we also know that on 5 o'clock we do get these fake out wick things. Okay, from all of the day traders just trying to get really quick profit right on open, and that washout that happens on open. Okay. All right. So that's it there. Okay. And all of you guys that have been in the live trading room, you should be all aware of this. Okay. So does anybody have any questions or comments of experiences that they may have that they want me to talk about based on this Lorentz regression? Don't be shy.
Richard, one of the things that I used to do was counter trend trade,
Yes.
and this actually helps with minimizing that.
This is very good for those guys. It's a human, and I suffered with this for years, where I was trying to be a bottom picker or a top picker, right? And bottom pickers get smelly fingers, right? So this is very good at you getting the direction correct, or assisting with the direction correct. A 3-year-old could do it. It's that good, okay? And it makes you go with the trend on the pullback, right? And that's where you got your best chance of winning. Yep. Thanks, Ash. Anybody else? No questions are silly. Please come forward. Grogs?
I'm good, mate.
Okay. It's pretty simple, isn't it?
It all makes sense.
It all makes sense,
Yeah, it is
right?
simple.
Now, some, you guys put this on your charts as well if you wish. Have a look at, gold. You can see here on gold, it does similar type of thing. Okay. But, when it's just going like this, with high volatility, some markets can just wash up above and below all over the place on it. Okay. But that's obviously like a flag. Okay. So that's actually a pattern. But when it bounced up, pulls back into it, and then you've got an opportunity. Okay. So have a look at the other markets. Some of them are just terrible. Okay. I did find ES not really good for this. You can see here ES just pulls back too hard because it's just a lot more volatile. But I found it works best on DAX. Right. So I'm going to leave it up to you to, if you do trade some other market, you certainly can use it on another market. But when you've got, if it's just swinging up above and below, I mean, look at all of this. It's all above and below all over the place. Okay, so it's not really ideal. Okay. HK50.
Yeah, I found it's not very useful in ES.
Yeah, it never really kind of worked on ES for me either. Okay. Alright, you can see here this just goes up and down all over it as well. Okay. Something's gone wrong with my chart. Alright, cool. Is that clear for everybody? This is going to be a very short session then, if nobody's got any questions. Heath, you good?
Yeah, just a quick one actually. Like, it's not really so the when you
Sorry, mate. Sorry, buddy, you're cutting in and out there, mate. Just repeat yourself. Okay. I think his internet's gone dead. Okay, anybody else? See if Heath can come back to us.
I got something for you, mate.
Yeah, go.
So you go through the whole training modules that you've got. There's a lot of things that you cover.
Yep.
See, and like I've been with you for a number of years now, and the red sin, this indicator you've been utilizing for the last couple of years. It wasn't really in the picture when I first started with you.
Correct.
Comparably, say to all the content within your course, your MAs, VWAP came in after I started as well.
Yep.
How do you, in your mind, because I know that you're heavy into the Laurentian at the moment, how do you, like we talk about putting importance on certain things?
You mean ranking?
Yeah, ranking of certain levels.
Yep.
And obviously relevant to each time frame and stuff. I know that you use this specifically on the 5 minute.
Yeah.
The 1 minute is a bit more wishy-washy just because of like how quick the 1
short
minute
time frame.
time frame is. Yep. So the problems, well, some of the challenges I've faced with this. So like I've been slowly introducing this indicator as a filter because obviously you know how I trade with all the convergence stuff, and I think one of the problems I'm getting at this point in time, and I need to go back through and sort of clear my own mind out, is that sort of ranking system, because I think at times I'm overcomplicating things.
Yeah.
Not overcomplicating. I'm too busy. There's too many things I'm looking at now.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and that's the issue.
When I first started with you.
Yep, that's
when
the
I first
issue.
started, there was no VWAP, there was no Laurentian.
Yep.
You mean it was SR, FIPS, trend lines, etc. MAs.
Yep.
And now it's because there's so many indicators or so many convergence to look at. Sometimes I talk myself out of trades because of these newer ones. Sometimes I talk myself into trades, and it gets a bit blurry.
Correct. Yep. And I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you.
Where do you?
Yeah, all right. Let me answer. Right. You're 100% correct. Right. I've over the years as I've put this all together, I've developed, I've grown as well. Okay. Some of the new guys that have come in, you've come in, right at our peak, pretty much. But for Grogs, he came in years and years ago, 18 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you've been, you know me for 5 or 6 years now, right? 5 years. So you're absolutely correct because there is a lot of content in there, okay, and it can get kind of confusing, okay. I think with this Lorentz thing, it's good in that it's uncomplicated some of it as well. I don't think dismissing the rest of it, we can't dismiss, what an AB equals CD is. We can't dismiss what all of these other things are. So the Lorentz and the VWAP, they came in a couple of years ago, but I'm certainly not. I just haven't. I haven't forgotten about the other stuff, or it doesn't work, or whatever. That's all still running through my mind at the same time. Okay. What this Lorentz does, and this is why I've put it on here, and this is why I've called it Module 14, Lorentz Trend Assist. Okay, it's just another tool to assist you. You don't have to use it, but as Ash pointed out, is given a lot of guys the ability to get the direction correct, right? And to get in early on the trend as well. Okay, so you can still use a 50 rule pullback and just use this regression as which direction you should be going in. Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Now, as far as ranking, just hold on. Just as far as ranking goes, okay. And I think I've said this in a previous video or the last video that we were doing. Is that I'm always starting off and taking my biggest, the highest ranking will be sitting on the 4 hour, and then the next SR channels whatever on 4 hour first, candlestick formations, MA. See up here we've got the 200 MA on 4 hour, right here. Okay, if you can all see it, let me just get a right. So that will take precedence over everything else. So I will not be going long up the top here, even if the kernel regression's pulling back, or the price is pulling back into the regression line, right? I'll be looking for shorts, just based on that. Okay. SR levels as well. I drew this SR level in here the other day, and this is why we had all that floor on Thursday, right? Okay. And we knew about it. All of this floor in here is because of this SR level in here. Okay. So it starts off on 4 hour is your highest rank. Whatever pattern you can see, whatever SR, whatever MA, whatever channel, TLs, whatever, it starts on 4 hour, then go to 15. Then we trade whatever those wider time frames, whatever they're telling me, right, is the direct kind of the direction that I'm looking for on the 5 minute. Yep.
Yep.
Did I answer your question?
Do you find? Yeah, to an extent. Like I understand. Like I'm obviously well aware that you take your major direction from the high ones, and like a long week or running into a 200 MA in particular on a 400. I mean, it's basically we all know it's suicide trying to long into it or short into it. I mean, we want to be looking for the bounce. But do you find over the years, because even when I started with you, like it was obviously more swing trading stuff.
Yep.
Have you found yourself? I don't know if this is correct. I haven't known you for the full 20 years. But the longer that you've gone on, the shorter your targets are.
Yes.
Because and this is just an observation of mine. I think that you've really taken to the Lorentzian stuff in the last, say, 18 months, 2 years.
Well, I've done.
You're looking for these little clips.
No, I've done it because I've found that it's an easy tool to teach guys how to do it. For new guys coming in, it's clear cut. It's guys gravitate toward it because it is a lot easier than me trying to teach them how to do a 50 rule. Okay, even though I mean,
okay, that's where the difference is.
correct.
Because where
Right.
I've been
I've
struggling
now
with
got Grogs. I've now got over 40 guys at the moment learning from me, and I found that everybody just clicks on this one much quicker than all the other stuff.
Yeah, because the stuff that I struggle with is because my base and my inherent base
Yep.
is fibs and SRs.
Yeah, I know, and this is what I want to say to everybody else in the room is that Grog started off on the hard stuff first, and then we've come to the easy. Now anybody new is starting off on this easy stuff, but you still got to do the hard stuff, right? You still got to be able to identify Elliott wave and the corrective wave. You still got to identify Wyckoff cycles, etc. You got to know everything, right? Just to stick your blinkers on, or switch off from all of the other stuff that I'm teaching. No, if you want to be a pro, you got to know it all, right?
Because I find it really difficult to take a Lorentz trade.
Yeah.
I like the smaller fib levels. I mean, if it hasn't gone beyond 50 or up towards a 618, I find it really hard to jump in because
this is when let's have a look at this, right? This is after NFP, it's pulled back, right? And we've got this changing in here. Let's say that this is a fairly nice bearish engulfing straight through the VWAP, and we've got SR here, support turns resistance. So when we're taking the Lorentz, if we're taking a short on this retest of Lorentz, that's lined up with VWAP and the SR together. And if we pull a fib on that, if we pull a fib here to here, that's the 382. Okay, so it's all. This is where this. I'm not saying just it's this Lorentz and then forget about everything else. It's all got to line up as far as a confluence area goes. Right.
100%, and I think that trade there exactly. If you put that back in there, to you,
yep,
is like, okay, that's an obvious trade for you.
Yes.
For me,
very obvious.
If you take the fib levels A, B, C, D of that leg, that'll be 1-to-1. I think. I would really struggle to short that.
Short that in there.
Yeah,
well, you could be buying here. I mean, you could be using this as an AB leg for 50 rule pullback, right? As a short, you can do that. You could be buying this number one level because it's lining up with the 200 MA. You could be buying that back into VWAP. If you were a VWAP trader like young Pete, he'll be shorting that. Okay, so yeah, you got to. I don't know.
That's my point, though. I would struggle to short that. Like, it goes against how I trade to short there. Even though from a Lorentz point of view, that's a clear as day short.
Correct.
You mean? But from where I'm coming from, I find that really hard. So when I watch you trade, and I see some of the other guys put up the Lorentz trades, it's almost as like it's like I've got inherent resistance against doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like anything,
just thinking on my own behalf. Like, that's where I struggle with it.
Yeah, well, like anything, and like all of this, right? It all needs to be recorded. You trade it on demo, you record it to see whether it's got the edge, and if it does, then you've got a system and a process. And that's the only way to, give yourself confidence in that which trades you should and shouldn't be taking.
And that's why I asked the question on how it ranks in your head, because, as I said, like the stuff that cycles through my mind in a trade like that, it's hard for me to put the ranking in there of where the Lorentz goes, because I can see this SR there, I can see this VWAP there, which might lend me to take that trade. But if it was just Lorentz, and say I would struggle. Whereas I find you take it you're much more confident with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not just taking it just on Lorentz. I'm taking it on the fact that that's a huge confluence area, and the Lorentz happens to be there as well. Yep. So even if Lorentz wasn't here, let's get rid of it. I'd probably still trade it because we've penetrated the VWAP and we've pulled back into it. Yep.
Yeah, fair. As I said, I think I'd probably need to do some more.
You
Probably
might,
demo trades with it.
yeah, just demo.
Keep
yeah.
the rents out of my
Well,
live trading at the moment.
it's a good segue to my next point for all the new guys in here. You need to go have a look at where the open is on the market. So open of the session, every session open. And let me just bring back the Lorentz. There it is. And run yourself scenarios of what you would do on the open for the first few hours, right? So let's say that you are going to take this short based on open in here. Okay, let's say you take 25 points out of it. Okay, 15-point stop, 30-point target, 2-to-1, perfect. Okay, and then I'll go long here. Okay, whoops, sorry. Let me just redo that. And then go long here, and I'll take let's go 20 points out of that. So there's 50 points, 2 trades in the day, done. Then I want you to go and take a screenshot of that and collect hundreds and hundreds of these images, right? So everybody should have this, and everybody who's coming to see me, I'll be checking on it as well. Where am I? Sorry, pictures. Okay. Trades here, all your trades. Okay, 50 rule trades, breakout trades, Lorentz trades. Okay, have a folder of hundreds and hundreds of scenarios. Okay, what it looks like if it's going to win. Okay, so the thing is penetration, change of color, penetration, pull back into the Lorentz. There's your buy or sell. Find out as well where if let's say in here, is that a confluence area as well? Okay, so let's say, for example, this one in this, let me get rid of this. Do we have, what else is going to support our case? Okay, so we do have a floor in there. Okay, so there's a floor there, penetrated, kind of V-shaped reversal, and there's gone back above, hit the VWAP, pull back down into this 200. So we've got SR, 200 MA. And if you want to go the full extent of this, you're sitting at the 236. Okay, that's not really something huge though. Okay, so collect yourself a book of as many trades as you can kind of find. Okay, we've all got heaps of history here, and here's an example of a bunch of trades in here. So sell on open, took it down to this SR level, could have held it, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but I didn't. Okay, I think I took 22 points out of that. Okay, I only took that one for the day. I'm only using these 3 here as examples, and I went through these with somebody on Friday, I think. But it's run quite a fair way, so having another sell in here is not really the smartest thing to do. Okay, but let's say that you did. Okay, we've got a full stop at 15 points. Then we've got the ability for this. It's now heading back up, and it's probably looking for the VWAP. It pulls back into the Lorentz for 23 points, and then you can take a sell. I think this was Pete took this sell based on the VWAP. So sell the VWAP, so because that's the first touch of VWAP, and then you sell it. Okay, so there's a whole there's 1 day scenarios there that you can. I can take a photo of and stick it in my collection. All right. So basically, what I want everybody to do is create a scrapbook, not only just your journal, but just have a scrapbook folder of all of these images of hundreds of scenarios. Okay. So let me just add to that another rule, and I just touched on it now. If it does move a long way, right, you may not want to be selling again. Okay, on this first touch, depending on whether there's SR sitting in here. Okay, around here. Let's have a look. Yeah, so on the 4 hour, have a look at the 4 hour just here. This is this low in here. Let me make it into that low in there. Let me just put it across. There it is there. Okay, this fib is incorrect. So there it is there. And here it is here. So what it's done is this 50 MA has come around, and we've also got the 100 MA on the 4-hour chart. So this 50 MA is the kind of the support. No, the 100 is the support. That's why we stopped in here. Okay, this 100. So, and on the upside, I mean, it wasn't really a fib level. It's kind of not really that clear. Okay, you know, in saying that as well, if the volatility is high, you know, there's nothing to say that that is not a bad trade, right? You know, it certainly can come back and make a double bottom or divergence or something. All right, so you know, it's certainly not a, you know, you shouldn't punish yourself for taking that trade. Just be aware that if it moves a fair distance, that, you know, it may not respect that, the first touch there of Lorentz. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thanks. Anything else, Grogs?
Hey, just to add to that point, again, this is just my preference. If it's moved that far and the retrace to the Lorentz is like shorter than the 236, I don't go anywhere near it.
Yep. That's a good little rule to have as well. That's fine. So if we do have that in there, there's the 236. So you know that it's you know, you're not in trouble if you were thinking to short that there. Okay, it just didn't work. You know, the thing is, when it starts to go up and down all over the Lorentz, then you know you might want to time stop yourself out of that at break even, or it's just a really small loss, or even just a little small win, right? Just get yourself out of it if it's just going sideways. Typically what we're looking for is it to go back into, you know, what most of us, what we were waiting for, and I was waiting for it back over here for it to come back and touch the Lorentz on this SR in here, and I was going to get in again short, but it never came back. So one thing that I don't like to do, and you all know this, is I don't like, once the thing starts moving, I'm not going to sell down here, right? Because it can just, you know, you're getting in at the worst spot in my book. Okay, but anyway, that day it just didn't touch at all. That's one that caught a few people in here. Yeah, that's the open, and then you can obviously, if that's moved up, but I mean that wick in there, that's a huge sign that's going to go short. So there's your trade in there, short. I think I took that one. This was a little bit sneaky in here, where it snuck up above, and then it just turned all the way over. So that's V shape in there. That one's V shape. All right. So even if you did go long over here you went long and you got stopped at 15 odd points, right? You've still got the ability, let me zoom in a bit. You've still got the chance, okay, you've been stopped, it comes back up underneath and you short that, okay? And then you've got a full recovery, okay? So those two trades will be break even, basically, okay? Now, if you were holding it to run, right? Now, some of you will probably looking at this 200 that's coming through here, go, oh no, it's going to bounce at the 200, which it kind of did. So, you know, fair enough if you wanted to pull it out at the 200 or hold on to it for a bit longer, right? But we'll talk about that in each scenario is different, okay? And you've got to make that judgment. But, you know, in saying that, that 200 may not be respected because on our ranking side, this is the top on the 4 hour, okay? This over here is the top on that 4 hour, okay? This is the SR that's going along there, okay? So this will take precedence over our 200 on the 5 minute. Okay? All right, boys. Any other questions? No? Okay, cool.
So,
Well,
very much.
Go. Yep. Heath, something going on your end, mate. Can't hear you, bro. Anybody else? Aaron, you good? You need to come and.
All good, mate. That was a very good refresher. Thank you.
Okay. Well, have you been trading? Is it time for you to come and see me?
Yeah, I had to miss a few days last week, so I'll wait for a few more trades.
Okay. No worries. Anyway, this is recorded, okay, guys. So you can watch it back if you've come in late. It's pretty simple, but like I said, it's not the be all and end all. It needs to go in hand with all of the other things that I've taught you. Okay. 50 rule, SRs, channels, blah 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 blah. Okay. Classic TA. Okay, I'll leave it there. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'm going to go watch the footy.
Easy, mate. Thank you.
All right, see you, boys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Richard.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, mate.